Hi guys, and welcome back to another video game with powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video, I'll be giving you my review of the board game Barbaric after the apocalypse, coming to you from Hexa House Games. Now, Barbaric is a game for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 plus, right around 40 to 90 minutes. If this is your first time watching a review from us, we go a little bit more in depth than maybe some other content creators do, and we go ahead and break the game down into 7 different categories. These categories are theme, components, setup, length, difficulty, replayability, and price. Within each of these different categories, I'll be giving a number rating equivalent to the BGG scale. And then at the end of my categories here, I will give an overall rating. And then at the end of that, to kind of wrap up the video, I will ask the proverbial question: if I had the opportunity to back this game again, would I do so? All right, guys, let's go ahead and jump right into my review, starting off with the theme. So the overall theme here of Barbaric is that a long time ago, the humans faced this energy crisis. And so they built this device called an atomic core. And over the course of time, these atomic cores led basically to the demise of the planet. But what it did is these radioactive energy basically changed the DNA of all the animals that lived on the planet and turned them into sentient beings. And so now what's happened is these clans have kind of formed of these different animal species, and each clan has trained a specific warrior for the ability to go out and capture these atomic cores. Because not only do these clans want the atomic cores, there are certain species of animals that have evolved into massive versions of themselves, and they want the atomic cores as well because they're attracted to the kind of shininess, or maybe the atomic core and the radiation can extend its lifespan. So that's kind of what you're doing, taking on the role of this warrior and your clan, and you're basically going into battle to try and take this core. And I think Barbaric does an excellent job of this, so I'm gonna go ahead and give the theme here a 9 out of 10. And what I'm gonna do real quick is jump down to the table and show you some of the mechanics of the game and how this really ties into the theme. All right, guys, so we are down here at the table where I have everything set up for what would be a normal playthrough of Barbaric. Now, I do want to note that this is the Kickstarter all-in edition of the game, with the miniatures having shadow shading on them, which was an additional add-on. So if you do manage to get a hold of this game, your miniatures might not look as polished or precise as the ones that you see here. So as I mentioned, this overall theme, right, you are going to have this atomic core that's going to be in the center of the map, and you are going to be taking on the role of your clan leader, which is considered a rider, okay? And so there are 4 particular riders in the game, each with their own asymmetric abilities. So you guys will draft these riders, and then these riders also have machines called gears, okay? And these gears are taking on the role of an aquatic animal that they have constructed using human technology. And so you will combine this rider and this gear together to kind of form your combatant. And what's really cool is the rider will actually ride on top of the gear. You can kind of maneuver them in there, so you attach them from the side and then kind of twist and turn, and they ride on top of each other. So that was a really cool little small feature of this game. Each of these riders and gears are going to come with their own special status cards, just telling you some of these status effects. Each rider will have a deck of skill cards. Each gear will have a deck of skill cards as well, and you will combine these together to form a deck. And so, as I mentioned earlier, guys, the overall premise is you are trying to move in and maneuver around this board, collect different resources to gain this atomic coin, and then you want to move off the map back home to your clan. However, that being said, there is a big bad monster in the middle of the table that you are going to have to navigate along with its minions to either distract it to move away, or maybe entice it to attack other opponents, or you're going to have to survive this giant monster as well so that you are able to get the core. Now, just some other little tidbits about the game. There is an event deck, so a bunch of events will pop out kind of during the middle of the game. You have survivors that you can meet that will get you bonuses as well. But I just think mechanically here, the game does an excellent job of kind of immersing you in the overall presence of the game. Is you are picking this champion, you are picking this gear, you are going out into battle and trying to claim this atomic core for yourself. Okay, so that's why I'm giving the theme here a 9 out of 10. Excellent theme. Moving on to our components. I'm going to stay down here at the table. I'm going to go ahead and give the components a 9 out of 10. I think there are some excellent components here. The production value of Barbaric is very, very well done. And I'm actually going to move my camera in a little bit closer so we can get a little bit more detailed look at maybe some of these components. So right away, just taking a look at the miniatures themselves, I just love the detail here of all of these big bad miniatures that they have. The details are really, really nice and really stand out. Now, some of these particular miniatures, they are a little bit flimsy. They do feel a little flimsy. Some of these little knives here and edge. And so I do get a little bit nervous when I am attaching the rider to the gear because of just how flimsy and some of these miniatures are. But your gears are all great. They're nice, sturdy, and hefty. The thicker miniatures like this Theodore Bulldog here, I don't worry about him at all. He's super easy to get in and out. But Kira not so much, does not provide. But a big one here is Pia Amber. So she has this small little rifle here that sometimes when you're trying to get her in and out is a little bit scary. You're afraid you're gonna break that one. But the miniature here, the miniatures are excellent quality. Let's take a look at the boards themselves. So this is the rider board. I do love this standard cardboard. This is a dual layered, feels nice and thick. The dials fit in awesome. I did not have any issues clasping these dials or any worry about them popping in and out. That all of them did fit and nice and snug. You have the rider boards as well, same just as the gear boards, I'm sorry, just the same as the rider boards. Love the artwork. They basically serve as a player aid as well. So that's really good. Like I said, each deck is going to have skill cards. The artwork on these skill cards are top tier, very excellent, all put together very well. The board itself is okay. I got the play mat, very happy I got the play mat. Sometimes on some of these boards, you can tell I got some lift right here on this particular one, and so even when I smush it down, you can see it's kind of popping back up. This board here, the monster board, dual layered as well, very thick and 30, but you can see sometimes it does have the tendency to get a little bent. At least mine is a little bent, so I don't know if that happened in production, but nothing too crazy about that. I do enjoy that it is dual layered. However, I wish on the back side of the solo mode this was dual layered as well, because a lot of the stuff will slide off when I want to play this from a solo standpoint. I wish it was like that one. Okay, what else? We got the components here of the game. These are super nice or super generic wooden pieces here that are screen printed. The dice themselves are really nice. Now this blue dice that's the resource dice. It is kind of hard sometimes to tell what some of these resources are like, but especially when it's far away, and really it's just like the canned food. Some are really easy to tell and some are difficult. So it makes you really look makes you really look close to see which one you get, but I think those are pretty cool. And then the last thing, guys, is gonna be the box insert itself. They've done a really, really great job with the storage of this particular game. So this is the bottom of the box where we're gonna house all of our miniatures, and then all of my components for each of the characters I just have in baggies in this big square box. They've done a great job being able to do that. And then when you are ready to fit everything else in the box, they have this small plastic insert right here, okay, which is gonna hold all of your rider gears and cards. And let me slot this into the box itself. So that will go on top of all of your miniatures. This right here will fit all the rider and gear boards. This will fit the monster board as well, which will be on top, and then these slots here will fit all of the cards in the game. So they've done a great, excellent job, I would say, with the components here and the storage. All right, so like I said, great job with the storage, great job with the components. That's why I'm giving them a 9 out of 10. All right, moving on to the setup. So I'm gonna go ahead and give the setup an 8 out of 10. I think for a miniatures game, a game that is this size, it has some really great setup. The longest part of setup is gonna be that drafting phase of drafting your riders and drafting your gears. But in terms of everything else, this game is not super component heavy. You're getting your miniatures out, you're getting the event deck, the survivor deck out, you're getting the, you're gonna do that drafting and then getting the skill cards and the status cards, and then you guys are ready to play. The board itself doesn't have much setup other than the monsters and the survivor tokens and the minions. And other than that, just getting your character and putting them out there, super crisp, super clean. I think for a game of this size, it has some really, really great setup. Moving on to the length here. Same thing, guys. I think the length, there is a great length to this game. It says about 45 to 90 minutes on the box, and I think that really stays true to that. Most two-player games we're playing are about 45 to 60 minutes. Three-player games are going to be about 60 to 90 minutes depending on it. But I think what makes this game so great is there's no real way to like drag or draw the game out. So there's multiple different ways to win the game, taking that atomic core, eliminating the other players. So, you know, your chase is always that atomic core, but if that ain't working, you can use the monsters or maybe your skills to take out the other players to get these victory tokens to be victorious at the end as well. So depending on who you're playing and the setup and things like that, the game can actually move very quickly. I mean, as little as 45 minutes. I've done a solo playthrough, I think, where it was like 35 or 40 minutes on the channel where I've won in that as well. So there is the potential that this game runs really quick, which is good, which is great, I think, for a game that is this size. Okay, let's move on to the difficulty. As always, guys, the lower the number, the easier we feel the game is. The higher the number, the more challenging we feel this game is. And I'm gonna go ahead and give this one a 6 out of 10. Look, I think there are a lot of challenging components to Barbaric. There's a lot of different phases. You have a day phase and you have a night phase, and you know, only certain things that there only are certain things that'll happen in the night phase. Then the day phase, you have an initiative track, so you got to keep track of who's going first in the day phase, and then got to keep track of who goes first in the night phase. The initiative track can change depending on the actions that you're taking. The monster only acts in the night phase. There are certain characters in the night phase that do more damage, and but for the components themselves, you know, in certain phases you can trade in resources for skills, but you can also trade in resources to do other things. But I think for me, the most complex part about this game is understanding that you have stamina and energy, and then you have sub-stamina and energy. And so your normal stamina and energy can only be used to activate, like, your stamina and sub-stamina can only be used for your riders. Your energy and sub-energy can only be used for your gears. However, sub-stamina can only be used to play cards from your hand that deal with your rider. Your normal stamina is used to activate rider skills or take one of the 3 rider actions that are available to you. And kind of the same thing with the energy. So normal energy allows you, which you only have one of, to take one of the 3 gear actions. The sub energy allow you to play cards from your hand that are related to your gear cards in your hand as well. So that is a very confusing thing to kind of explain and for you to get down the very first couple of times that play this game. And like, you can only activate 1 skill a turn and things like that. So for me, I think that makes the game just a little bit more complex to understand your first couple times as you're playing it, which is why I'm giving the difficulty here a 6 out of 10. All right, guys, moving on to the replayability here. I'm gonna go ahead and give this game a 9 out of 10. I think there is excellent replayability here. Of course, you have 4 riders in 4 gears, so that's a lot of different combinations you can mix and match. So every time you're playing this game, you're gonna have different combinations. And I think that's the funnest part about this game, is just trying out all the riders, all the gears, all the different combinations, what is the most optimal combinations. But I think they also do a really good job of making each character feel unique, and also making each combo group feel really overpowered. And so you're playing this game and you're like, man, these combos feel overpowered. And then you look at your opponents and you're like, dang, my opponent actually has an overpowered combination. So I think it does a great job. And of course, there's, like I said, there's many different ways to win the game. You can take the core, you can eliminate your opponents. The monster acts in different ways. There's a monster deck that he's gonna do different things. And so I think there's just a lot of high replayability, and they do a really great job of wanting you to play this game over and over with the different combination of characters and gears. All right, guys, moving on to the price here. So like I said, I don't know if they have plans to bring Barbaric to retail. As of right now, the only way that you can get it is I've seen you can pre-order this on BackerKit. And the base game that you are seeing here today, the base core box, that is going for 119 US dollars. And I think at that price point, I'm gonna go ahead and give that an 8 out of 10. I do think that is a great price point for a game like this. With the level of production value that you're getting, these are high level miniatures here. And so, you know, some of the games I think that came to my mind were maybe like Townsfolk Tussle, maybe Lords of Ragnarok, things like that. Just miniature games that I'm trying to think of and what the price point for that is, and what you're all getting in Barbaric, and kind of like your replay value. Of course, these miniatures are good right now. The game is, like I said, I have no idea if this plans to come to retail, but this game is very scarce right now. And so the value that you're getting is going to be high. If you don't particularly like this game, I do think there's a possibility that it is going to have a high resale value, again, based on the production value, the miniatures, and everything that you're getting in there. So for 119 US dollars, I think that is a great price point. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to my overall rating. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Barbaric a 9 out of 10. I think Barbaric is an excellent game, and it does a lot of things really, really well. For me, I love the MOBA style feel of this game, where you're drafting that rider, you're drafting that gear, you're combining the cards together, and just seeing all the different possibilities and how each rider and gear interact and what they can all do. That's really cool. But look, I think Barbaric has a great theme. You know, it's a miniatures style, dudes on a map type game where you're doing combat, and it takes that to, I mean, it hits that right on the mark. I think the components are phenomenal. It looks beautiful on the table. It has awesome table presence. The big monsters, the Komagon looks phenomenal and just is a beast that is really an intimidating presence on the table. I think the setup and the length here, like the setup of the game makes it real easy to get to the table. You know, most big miniature style games are going to take you 90 to 120 minutes. I think this one, having the capability of only being about 45 to an hour, really does it justice of getting this to the table and justify getting it to the table a lot of different times. So that's really awesome as well. And then just the high replayability value of this one. I just love the game in general. I love how everything interacts with each other. I love just drafting those characters over time, getting stronger and stronger. Your stamina goes up, your health goes up, you get to play more cards, the more powerful interactions, all the different ways to interact with the monsters, you know, battling the other characters that are on the board. This just fills a lot of holes for me that I really, really look for in a lot of board games. So I think this game is fantastic. I think it's excellent. So 9 out of 10. All right, guys, last thing, if I had the opportunity to back this game, would I do so? Absolutely, yes. I did back the all-in collector's edition. So I do have this box. I do have the second box, which is Into the Lost Jungle. And I do have the last box, which is the Heart of the Grand Canyon here. So each of those boxes come with another 4 riders in 4 gears. And I haven't even busted any of those other boxes yet because I'm just having such a fun time messing around with the stuff in this core box. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this content, please go ahead and smash that like button and hit that notification bell. Comment down below, did you guys back Barbaric? Are you interested in Barbaric? What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and comments below. And as always, guys, if you're not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can continue to keep bringing you more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.